Hi, everybody. This is Michelle Hill, your legacy builder at Winning Proof, and I am here for another episode of Winning Proof Unscripted. And today I have the privilege of having Fred Foreman as my guest. And so I'm going to read his bio, and then we're just going to jump right in. So Fred Foreman Sr. is a father of 4 children, a husband, and a veteran. He grew up in Clayton, North Carolina, and he is a CEO of a nonprofit titled One Blood Movement of Unity, Inc., that is designed to bring people back to the understanding that we are all God's children, one, AKA one human race. Very good. Fred is also a public speaker who shares insight on self-unity in an unorthodox way. He is a certified life coach who renews the undervalued, self-driven men by restoring their lost confidence. His quote is, "If each individual does their individual job, that's what makes a team." Oh, I love that. That's a beefy bio. Hi, Fred. How you doing?
I'm good, Michelle. How you doing? It's so good to see you.
Yeah, good to have you here. And I'm just going to kind of dissect your bio, and then we're just going to have a conversation. But you say you're a veteran. What branch did you serve in the military?
Oh, I was in the Army, short time, but I was in there in 99 was when I went in, and it was Army. It was Army.
Okay.
So I had a good time. Met some real valuable people in my life. So I always appreciate anybody's military, any kind of service. Really, I've always been drawn to people who serve in any kind of capacity. So that's my take on military stuff.
Yeah. Did you learn tools and tricks for life from the military that have gone with you in all the years afterward?
I would love to say more along the lines that they increased my leadership skills. My father I grew up with a great, wonderful father who stuck in there, hung in there with me through the whole process of growing and raising children. And my mother died probably when I was about 12, 13 years old. So being that a father always said, be a leader, not a follower, the military enhance that. They push it and they increase it, and they make it well known to what it's supposed to be. So I just say, I enjoy it. I just enjoy it.
Okay, well, that's good. I think every circumstance, everything we go through, it kind of builds for the next thing, and we can take away something, good or bad, from the experience.
Indeed, that we can do.
Okay, so you're the CEO of a nonprofit titled One Blood and Movement of Unity. So explain what One Blood is, why you started it, and what your purpose is. I know that's kind of a 3-pronged question, but we'll just dissect it one at a time. What is One Blood Movement?
Oh my goodness, that's a really good question. I'm glad you asked. That is a powerful movement. I believe it or not, I was in the shower when God gave me this movement. It was something crazy. It was a heavy, extremely heavy weight that was on me, and I initially thought it was for uniting my wife's family and my family together to bring to bring some unity between the two families, because that's something we never did. Most families, when they get married, a lot of times they don't collaborate. They just you have your side and they have their side, and then Christmas we'll go visit this side, and Thanksgiving we might go visit that side. So in my mind, I had I was thinking God was telling me to unite my family. But so I went and told my wife about it, and she was like, yeah, we can do that. We can plan a big cookout, and we can invite different people, everybody bring a dish, and I think they call it like a potluck type deal. And it was great. We said move, we would do it. And then like the following week, that the weight never lifted. I was like, what? It's still heavy. So I'm back in the shower again. Shower is where God gives you everything that you need to have for some odd reason. It's always in the shower. But we're in the shower again, and everything is, moving through my brain. And he says, that's not it. That wasn't it. So I was like, well, what are you talking about? And I've noticed throughout my years, I went to a school. When we moved to Johnson County, it still had KKK, Welcome to KKK Town in Smithfield, North Carolina. And I've always been that guy. Unfortunately, I've always been that guy that could unite all people. It didn't matter. I was the friendly type. I had my issues. I had my things that I deal with, but but I was always that guy. It was a blessing to be that guy that was mutual to everyone. And in Clayton, North Carolina, racism was big. It's huge. It still is to a degree. And we deal with it. But I was homecoming king in high school in a majority white school. So you got a black guy or black kid at that time being a homecoming king in a majority white school. That's pretty big. So when God brought that back to my attention, he was like, I need you to unite all races because of what we were going through after the Obama era and going into so much of Trump era, Bush era, and all them, just so much negativity that was in the world, especially dealing with racism. And when God hit me with it, I was like, good grief, that's that's not a weight. It's not a weight that I want at all. So I kind of went back on God with that. Just I didn't agree with doing it. I didn't mind uniting people, but I just didn't want to take it to that level. I'm a cookout guy. Give me a cookout. We invite all the friends and we have a good time and we call it a day and go home. But pushing this forward, when he gave me that, so I introduced it to the world, gave it to the world in 2016, went through an abundance of hell trying to create it, trying to bring it to light. It was so much my family went through, so much that I went through to fight an enemy that you can't see.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And the heaviest and the biggest enemy that we have in the United States is racism. And that's a weapon that we have not created yet to fight it. The only one that we have is the one that God gave us, which is love. So when he designed it for me, I figured, I said, well, I've been mentoring kids for so many years. He told me to start in the kids, in elementary schools. And that's where I pushed it to. I started mentoring. I've been coaching football for almost 20 years, but it enhanced me and it pushed me further and deeper and more into bringing awareness to our racism that's in our world today. And that's what One Blood does. It brings people back to understand that we all are God's children, one human race. And I start with the youth because of that reason. If I can break that chain of hate in our youth, then by the time they get to our age, prayerfully, they'll be done with it. So that's where One Blood is. That's the beauty of it.
Okay. Now, what was it like to go back to your high school and being in Clayton and having it be very segregated, but going to an all-white school? Mm-hmm. And becoming homecoming queen? How did you start? I mean, it sounds like the movement started back then, really. So what tools did you use? What did you use to create that environment to where they voted you the homecoming king, like king of the hill kind of thing? That's an accomplishment. What did you do?
It's a blessing. It actually started in primary school when we moved here. And I haven't told this story much. A few people know it, but it was this young lady. We're in first grade, so we're extremely young. But I just moved to Clayton, North Carolina. We moved from Raleigh and came to Clayton. And I was trying to get acclimated with the class and with the teacher. And I walked in. I'm smiling. I'm a go-lucky kid. It is what it is with me. And I'm walking in, and it's a room full of kids who do not look like me, and I'm not used to that, at all. So it's almost a culture shock to me. And the first thing I do is that, the teacher has crayons all over, the tables, and everybody has their little bag packed up at their desk. So I get my desk and I get the crayons and I slide them up my sleeve to play with a trick on the teacher. So I said, teacher, I don't have any crayons. And she's initially an adult like that, especially in those times, they about halfway lose their mind. And I thought I put that, those crayons right there on the desk. And I said, no, I don't have it. Everybody's have. I said, well, you skipped me. It's okay. It's cool. So she goes looking up under there and she's picking up books and going all through the desk and everything. And then I pull them out my sleeve and I tap her on the shoulder. And I said, are you looking for these right here? So it's a joke for me. And I'm trying to break the ice because they don't know me and I don't know them. And like I say, it's over 80% doesn't look like me in there. So at that time when I was going to school, it was probably maybe 2 or 3 blacks in about a 30, 25 to 30 student classroom. And the teacher initially smiled. And then it was three white girls sitting right there, and she said, "That's stealing," and it shifted. It
Whoa.
shifted the whole demeanor, the whole atmosphere just completely shifted. And I was like, I know I wasn't raised to steal, and and I didn't catch it, but you could tell that the atmosphere completely shifted, and the teacher agreed with her, took her side, and she was white as well. And I was like, wait a minute, this is not the plan. So I'm stunned, I'm shocked, and I'm just
Mhm.
standing there, and I'm like, this ain't it. This is not it.
This
So
didn't go how I thought it was going to go, kind of
this
thing.
this is not it. This is not it. So that's really, to me, when God showed me what One Blood was about and what He wanted to do with it, and how He wanted to take it to Congress and take it to further places, put it in the churches and in the school systems, and just bring an abundance of love to override His hate. At that point in time, I had made my mind up then in primary school that I would never treat anybody else or anybody out of the way, what I'm saying, the way that they don't need to be treated just because. You know what I'm saying? Because that was a just because moment. And I realized, just because of this, you could have created in me an attitude that would hate white folks for the rest of my life at that moment, because you accused me of something that was nowhere near
Yeah.
what I was trying to do. And the teacher jumped on it. So at that point in time, for me, when I really thought about it, that's when God really put One Blood inside of me, when I was in primary school.
Wow, wow. That that goes way back, and sometimes something just doesn't have it doesn't come to fruition until way later, but the building blocks, you
Yeah.
had the bricks of the building blocks being built along the way. So
Mhm.
you mentioned Congress. How big do you want this movement
Oh,
to go? What is your overall vision for it? It
my
sounds
old
big.
Yes, with me, I am praying that God takes this as far as He wants it to go. And what I mean by Congress is, I want a station in every state. At least, what I'm saying, in a headquarters, and not a headquarters, but a branch in every state, but mainly DC. And the reason I wanted in DC, because I feel like that's the stomping ground that we really need Christ in. You know what I'm saying? We really need His love. We really need His affection in an area that makes laws. A lot of people don't think Christ was about government, but that's what the kingdom is. It's all government. And once you get an understanding of what you're up against, and once you get an understanding of what kind of weapon to use to combat what you're going against, you can really combat it. You can really go forward. You can really move. You can really push things out the way that doesn't need to be there. And going to Congress, I think we'll have a different approach. It's going to be a hard one. I'm not going to lie. I know it is, because that's a different mindset up there. It's a different type of people. It's a different type of flow that goes through that area. So I plan on going to the very top, bringing it as hard as I can, and as much love as I can. Really, there's no. There will be arguments, but they won't be let's go outside and fight arguments. There'll be arguments of saying, hey, that's your understanding, that's your mindset. Now let me give you mine, and let's see if we can come to an agreement.
Yeah, yeah. Well, and for sure, and it's, it has to be a strategic plan to get to that level. And, so who has come alongside you? Do you have a variety of color, in the movement so far, that you're kind of proving that this is the intent of the One Blood movement?
Oh yes, indeed. It's been a blessing. I have one of my guys is a white guy. He's Coach Ken. He helps me on the football side, and then of course I have my own board. My board is diverse. I have a lawyer, which is a white lady, Renee, which is a retired nurse, and then the other ones are black. So it's only 5 members. Yeah, so 2 white, 3 black, and then the sub members are white and black. And then I'm bringing in a Latino shortly. Matter of fact, I'll be interviewing her today. So I'm starting with that diversity because I can't move forward in showing and giving love and introducing, or a suggestion that we should be diverse, if I don't have it. You know what I mean? I can't have it.
Exactly. Yeah. If you had an all black board and
Yeah,
everybody, then they're, I think people would say, oh, well, he's not doing it. but he's saying it. So yeah, I love that. I love that,
Yeah.
a whole bunch of people. And really, when I used to have jobs, my favorite workplaces were the ones where it was the most diverse. You had tons of diversity. And at one point I was an admin assistant for a sales and marketing department, and I supported a VP and about 30 people. And there was so many. There were Black and white and Asian and Indian and oh, let me see what else. I think that was it. It was in California. So
Yeah,
I mean,
but
it
all
was
kind of folks over there.
yeah, it was a melting pot. But I love that environment because everybody brought something unique and a unique perspective to the table. Is that what you're finding? Is that, from diversity, everybody has a unique perspective. Even within one race, you get 10 people in the room and everybody has their unique perspective based on their growing up, their mindset and all that. So
Oh,
do you see that in action, like every day in your, as you manage the organization?
Oh yeah, we have a differences of opinion, and I love them. I embrace differences of opinion. To me, life is deals with understanding. If you don't understand who you are first, you'll never be able to understand me. And to me, that's life, and that gives me the upper hand on a whole lot of people that I deal with now because I understand myself. I understand my purpose and what God has me to do. And then when I hear somebody else's level of thinking and their mindset, I embrace it because I'm like, wow, okay, I'm loving it. Even though I might not like everything that they do or everything they suggest, but I love that they have a thought and they want to execute on it, and they want to figure out a way to do it. And to me, that's where love is. It's just understanding folks, and I see it on a daily basis. My coach Ken, me and him are like brothers. We talk real. He's on one side of the voting stream. I'm on another side of the voting stream, and we have real intimate conversations of train of thought. But it's never a fight. It's never a I hate you for this, or I don't like you for that, or we're not friends anymore, or just something that's way out of character. It's always a conversation, and I had to put him on my board. Well, he's on the sub board, but I had to have them people with that different mindset on the sub board in case I run across something that I do not understand from that side of voting. And it might not click with me, so I have to go, hey, but what are you thinking? What's your train of thought with this, and then why? So that when you give me that why, then now you educating me. We're starting to get along on a whole nother level because now I can see what you're saying and where you're coming from and how to combat it in a different format. So yeah, I see it on a daily basis and I love it. I embrace it. It doesn't bother me.
Yeah, me too. And really, the older I get, the more I have learned to just really embrace difference of opinion and just, oh, you think like that, just like you just said. Just why do you think like that, or what forms the basis? And I've had professionals that have refused to work with me actually because I did not vote the same way. And like that's a deal breaker. And I'm like, ooh, should I put on my website, I'll only work with you if you get up at 6 a.m. in the morning, if you have brown hair, if you have, if you, I don't know. I just like, that it boggles my mind sometimes. So I really appreciate you saying that, just to have an adult conversation doesn't have to be combative, doesn't have to be full of strife. It's just learning somebody else's opinion,
That's all. Conversation.
Yeah. So, okay. So you're in transition. You are, man, are you in transition? So you are, tell a little bit about your transition, how you're transitioning, and how that looks for wanting to put your whole attention onto One Blood movement, yet maybe being, a little bit not being able to, I guess I'll say. So kind of tell that story.
It's a it's a mindset change that you have to do. You have to make your mind up. This is what I'm going to do, versus this is what I'm going to try to do. I think a lot of people get so caught up. There's nothing wrong with trying. I don't want anybody to think that they can't try anything, but you got to get to a point to where you're going to do it. And the transition of doing something is totally different than transition of trying. Trying means you're lining up stuff. You're going to try this way, and if I fail, I still got this to hold me and to keep me in place. Trying means you're always relying on your cushion. You never let your cushion go. You're always relying on that cushion. But when you say I'm going to do it, that takes the cushion away. The
Yeah,
only
like
thing
burning the boat.
yeah, exactly. Absolutely. And you just have to push that to the side. Yeah. So you know what, for God I live, for God I die. And you have to let him know that your faith is in his hands. You know what I'm saying? You have to really, really push that envelope of saying, you know what, God, I trust you. I'm going to do exactly what you asked me to do. If I fail, I fail. I'm gonna be like 3 Hebrew boys. If I fail, I'm still walking with you. So I know I'm not, I know I hadn't completely dropped off the bank, but I'm just down here for a few minutes for that season. I'm gonna keep going. But in that, when you make that mindset change and when you do it, it's tough. It is because it's two different entities at that point in time. One blood. I've been building One Blood for 6 years.
Mm-hmm.
So now One Blood has its own entity. That's my baby. And it's hard detaching from your baby. When God gives you something to birth, it's when you birth it. I mean, you have children. This is your norm. This is normal for women to feed them, nurture them, and then send them off. For a man, we watch them and we groom them and then we send them off. But for boys, we can kick them out, no problem. But our girls, we so attached to them, we kind of over hug them, over embrace, and we want to make sure they're comfortable and safe. Well, that's how I am with One Blood. And it's hard. It really is hard to just kind of let that flow on its own. And now build up Fred Foreman Sr., the life coach for men. So making that transition and then coming out of 9 to 5, that's a hard one because the 9 to 5 is my cushion right now. That's what pays my bills. Fred Foreman Sr. hasn't been built yet. It's in the process of being built. And then One Blood is already built. But now that the 501 is kicked in, now I have to add levels to it now because the foundation is already there. So now I'm adding levels to One Blood to keep that motivated and to push it even farther so I can add my different chapters around the world and and increase the level of what One Blood does. But at the same token, I have to focus on that. But I also have to focus on something that will take care of my financial needs at home. And that's the life coach side. And that's man, I tell you, Michelle, that's a different beast. I'm learning as I go. I'm getting help. I'm getting life coach myself. So I'm not alone. I'm never alone, but even trying to pay for your life coaching out of the funds that pay for your home, everything that deals with home, that's a part of life that you just have to say, God, I need this. I want this. You want this for me, and you ride it out, and you make a mindset change. You say, I'm going to be successful. Changing the mindset for success. I'm going to be successful. I'm going to do it. I'm not going to no longer trying. I'm actually going to go do it. And once you have that mindset, it's a wrap. Things will start coming together. Things will start opening up. Doors will start opening that that only God can open. And the ones that need to be closed, only He can close it. They will be closed. And it just starts working out for you.
It does. And based on what you said, the mindset shift, don't you think that has to happen first before everything else happens? Because, I knew that when I outgrew my last job in California, it was just a friend pointed out, you've outgrown that. And I see where you're saying the same thing. Your mind outgrows it, has outgrown it. You just have to take the steps to get to where you want. From that mindset shift, now it's just practical steps. Is
and which one are you going to take?
Yeah.
Someone's going to trip, and you got to pick yourself back up, and you got to keep going. But yeah, because and like you said, I like how you said outgrowing the career that you're in. Have a great career, well established, but like you said, I have realized now. The last year is when I realized I had outgrown it. I was done with it. I'm really completely done. And it's hard. We're on vacation now, and I don't even mind saying this when it airs and it goes, and maybe one of the corporations sees this. That's fine with me. I am. That's how far done I am. I even let them know that I want them to donate to my organization. That's how far done that I am. I'm completely, and I'm contemplating even going back, but you have to be wise. We have to be wise in what we do. If we don't have the funds to sustain us, then God said use wisdom, and we are using that before I just up and leave and quit. I don't want to do that, and I don't want to burn a bridge. I never want to burn a bridge anybody. But
Yes.
that transition is different.
It is. It is definitely a transition, and it is different, and it can be, has its challenges,
Yes.
but
Yeah.
as long as you know your why, you know your purpose, you know what you want to do, so it's not like you're going out there aimless, like,
Right.
just. And I think there's a huge difference between, no, you don't want to burn bridges, but sometimes you have to burn the boats.
Right. Yes, indeed. Indeed.
Yeah. So I want to talk just a little bit about, like, life coach. You're going to be a life coach, and you want to renew the undervalued, self-driven men. So what does that mean? What do you want to pour into their lives? What does that mean for you?
For me, I went through so much hell in 2016. 2016 was a crazy hard start. A continuous funnel downward. In 2016, I almost lost my home, my wife, my kids, my relationship with my sons. Like I said, I've been coaching for almost 20 years. So I've coached my sons through every sport that they played, and to lose that relationship with them, man, I tell you, these are boys and these are black young men and fathers. Black fathers have enough on their plate already, dealing with society, dealing with the world, dealing with their wives, their careers, and then to lose that, almost lose that relationship with your sons because of so much that's going on in the home. That took a beating. Well, I took a beating on dealing with that. So when I started going through that process and taking that beating, I was taking a beating from the world as well. My career, my job, I was, my education was up here, but the guys that were beating me, education was here, but their skin color was different than mine.
Mm-hmm.
And my work ethic is up here, their work ethic is down here, but their skin color is different than mine.
Yeah.
So being that I'm flipped, and I got I was somebody was chosen over me that was less qualified twice, and I'm working my butt off, but because of my skin color, I had to work twice as hard, 3 times as hard, 4 times as hard just to get in that position that I'm in now, to oversee what I see now. And going through that and feeling myself being just completely undervalued, I still had enough drive in me to keep going because I knew I had a mission. I didn't understand my mission, and didn't know my cause, and know my purpose, and know my why, but I just knew it was there. But the undervalue almost took me to a depression state of mind, to where I wanted to leave and go across the world. I didn't want to kill myself,
Mm-hmm.
but I did want to leave and go across the world and never return, and not deal with anybody that I knew. Start a whole new life, I probably wouldn't have done a family, but I just wanted a whole new life. Yeah. And a whole new perspective. So that's the self-driven part that you really just got to keep going. But the undervalued part would take your mind completely away. So these young men that are working their butts off, they're in their own careers, but they know they got a purpose. They know they have something more that's inside of them, and they know their confidence is so low right now because they only doing just enough to sustain themselves. That's a problem, and they know it. So I'm that guy that they can talk to and say, and coach them up to a level to where I'm at now, build their confidence back up, saying, you know what, I can do this, because all that's invested in me still has to come out. I don't want to take this to the grave. I don't want to get to the grave and all the books and all the songs and all the love and all the buildings that I'm supposed to build on.
There's, yeah.
All the lives that are supposed to change. I don't want to take none of that with me when I get to the grave. Mm-hmm. I want to empty out. So I want to empty these guys. I want to help these guys get to the level of where, yes, I want to, yep. And I want to get these guys to the level of where they can become empty, where they can know, where they can start working towards getting themselves empty out and rebuilding their confidence in themselves, taking that self, that value that's been devalued inside of them and rebuilding it, recalculating and saying, you know what, I am a good guy. I am strong. I've done well, and I'm going to continue to do well, and I'm going to make something big for everyone to see. And that's the goal.
Yeah, I absolutely love that. And I know that I have a really good friend locally that is in a very high place somewhere, and a black man. And he still says he's pretty much second in command. And he still says he has to work twice as hard to maintain his position. I mean, he's very revered in his role, but still he is talked over in meetings, and he is still, there's still elements present that even at his, he's near retirement age, but he still has to prove himself. So that has to be, where you want to instill in these young men, keep going, because, I hope it gets better, but if in case it doesn't,
Yeah.
you've got to instill the tools to keep going and not get bitter, but just, maintain, manage, and thrive,
Yeah, it's so many businesses that's inside of these young men's mind that it's there. I had no idea it was in me. And 2016 showed me, I've always known something was there, but after 2016, I knew what was in me needed to be given out. My story needed to be told so it can be heard, so I can uplift someone else to start their own business and start their own career, what they really want to do and what their purpose is in this life. So it's worth it. You just got to keep fighting.
Yeah, you can't lose the fight in you, because sometimes I think we all go through days, maybe a few hours, maybe a whole day, maybe, I hope not a week, but just we lose the fight. The steam goes out of us, and we're just, you just want it. I know, I've been there myself. I know that feeling, but then you dust yourself off, you keep going. So my final question really, and I want to address your quote too, but my final question is, like, if you had a young man in front of you, say a young man is watching this, maybe a Black youth is watching this, and they're absorbing what you're saying, what would you say are the top 2 or 3 things that you would tell him face to face if he were there right now?
Oh, that's a good question. That's a real question. One of the first things I always tell these young cats, and the ones that are my age, between 30 and 40, most definitely is you have to go to the mirror. There's 2 different types of mirrors in your life. And one is your physical mirror, and then one is your spiritual mirror. So me, I'm a believer. So my spiritual mirror is my Bible. My physical mirror is the actual mirror that's in my bathroom that I go look at and that I speak affirmations to back to me. And what I'm doing is that's the part where the rebuild, the restore, the reconstruction happens. It's in here. It's nothing dealing with the body. It's all in the mind. So what I'm teaching you now, or what I would tell this young man or individual, is you have to get to a point where you completely love yourself and understand exactly who you are. And the way you go about doing that, for sure, without a shadow of doubt, is you got to get in front of that mirror and you got to let it all out. You got to know who you are. You got to explain everything in that mirror. I mean, just talk it out through the mirror, because no one will ever be able to understand you if you don't understand yourself. That's just starting point right there. Get to that mirror as soon as you can. Get your physical one, and then get your spiritual one. Those are the main 2. Those are the key mirrors that you'll ever need in your life. Once you get to them bad boys, you got it going on. You can rock and roll. You are on top of your game. You will be able to go into life on a daily basis and change someone else's life. So including your own, that would be the first step right there.
Okay, I love that. I love that. And I think you are, I know, I don't think, I know that
Thank you.
you are only just beginning, even though you've had One Blood movement for 6 years. I
Mhm.
think once you get through the transition and you get through the tunnel,
Yes.
as the players go out onto the field,
Yeah.
you're
That's
going to be like, Rocky or something,
it.
like you have so much more that you're going to accomplish once you can devote 100% full time into this, movement.
In- Indeed. Indeed. Way to
Yeah.
push.
Yeah. So your quote, I'm going to read it again. If each individual does their individual job, that's what makes a team. Now, that just sounds like a football coach to me. Because I deal with a lot of the football, uh,
Yeah.
NFL former players, scouts, and coaches, and all that.
Right.
Explain what that means to you on a daily life basis.
A daily life basis. The world was created with a team. The Father, Son, and the Holy Ghost, and it was also created by words. Nothing was physically done except the flying and the gliding. It took a team to do it. So there's a team inside of you. You have your mind, spirit, and soul, and they have to be on one accord. So if each individual of them is doing their specific individual job, your team will become exactly what God has intended it to be. And what I mean by that is changing your mindset to be exactly what God is intending you to be. And that's for the individual side of it. Now, worldly wise, you stick to your plan. You stay in your lane. If there's 11 players on the football field. So if my quarterback does his job, my center does his job, my two tackles, my two guards, my two ends, they all do, my receivers and my running back, if they do their individual job, that's what will make a team. And I use that for so many different reasons, especially on the internal side. If you feed your flesh, you're going to do fleshly things. But if you feed your spirit in that mirror, you do spiritual things through your flesh. And that's the beauty of each individual does the individual job. That's what will make a team.
I love that. You are full of golden nuggets for sure.
Yeah. Praise God.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
God
tell
be good.
people how they can connect with you, how they can get in touch with you.
Oh, you can reach me at One Blood MOU. That is the website. It's currently being under construction right now. It's still great. You still can go to it and look at it. It is no problem, but you can reach me through that website. And once you type in Google One Blood MOU, you find everything about me. That's my life coaching. That's my public speaking and Instagram, YouTube, my Eye Opener Tuesday show. There will be a podcast coming soon. I have to get that up and posted. The Open Talk with Fred, a Black man's perspective. That's coming in the near future. So reach out to me if you need me. My number is all over social media. You can find it. Like I said, you can look me on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram. It's all One Blood MOU. Fred Foreman Senior side is coming shortly by the end of this month. But you can find me through One Blood.
You are on fire.
I'm talking to fire. That's why.
Well, thank you. And I really appreciate you being today, taking a little bit of your time to just, deliver your golden nuggets. And, I just want to encourage people, if you have, are in need of life coaching or, you know, um, just want to find out more about One Blood movement, just reach out to Fred. Please connect with him on social media. I originally met Fred on an Every Dot Black meeting, a Zoom meeting. So we've connect through that meeting, I guess, mostly.
Yeah, we did most.
So,
Everything's Zoom now.
exactly. So it's a great thing. So I thank you, Fred, for being here today. I really appreciate it.
Michelle, I thank you so much. Like I said, we did meet through Every Dot Black, and it's a beautiful. I seen you in. Let me say this before you go. I don't want to take too much more of your time, but it is something about spirits when they are the same. They connect, and when I seen you, I was like, that's someone I need to talk to on a regular. That's a connection there. And the first time I seen you, I couldn't get to you at that point in time. I think it was a Saturday meeting, and I wanted to talk to you then, but I was driving, and
Yes.
I just had the phone going. I couldn't do what I wanted to do. But when I knew I had my opportunity, I said, I am going to speak to Michelle. And I thank you so much for putting me out here. It's always a blessing, and I pray that we stay in contact and you come on my show as well.
Well, absolutely. I absolutely will. I'm not a black man, but I do have some perspectives.
I understand that.
So yeah, absolutely. I would love that. And I just want to close out by telling people, if you want to get a hold of me, you can go on my website, winningproof.com. You can find me all over social media too, LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook.
Yeah.
All over. So let me see, where else? Oh, if you want my email, you can email me at winningproof@gmail.com, winningproof@gmail.com. And I just want to let people know I have a new children's book program that I am rolling out in January. Well, it is January. It's out. And so that's really exciting to me, because get that message to children, get your principles, start at a young age, and just instill those principles, those strong principles. So thank you, everybody, for being here for another episode of Winning Proof Unscripted.